Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, where we'll turn our attention now to something that needs a lot of focus and needs to be addressed if, of course, we're not to witness the unfortunate incident that involved the Minister of State for Labour. It's about road safety, and we're joined this morning by Ayodeji Oyedokun, who is the former Chief Executive Officer of Lagos Drivers Institute. He joins us from Abuja. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, yes, indeed, it's a very shocking and sad story that greeted the country, still making the front pages as a matter of fact. But the FRSC has said they're going to go ahead and publish the report of what transpired. Could you tell us, what should we be looking out for to sort this out or prevent it from happening again?
Thank you very much. When such things happen, we normally rush to take reactive actions. But the issue of safety on our highways needs to be something that we have to attack holistically. Now, there are 7 E's in road safety. The first one is engineering. The second one is enforcement. The third one is education. The fourth one is enforcement. Then you have evaluation, engagement, and encouragement. The highway transportation system, we have the interaction of the man, the environment, and the machine. In the 3 factors, it is true that it is the man, that is the driver, that is very, very important. But actions that we need to take has to involve all the things I've mentioned above, and I will attack them one by one. In terms of the first one, which is engineering, we find on our highways that there are so little fittings and road fittings and furnitures. Most of the roads are not lane marked. Road signs are absent on our highways. And also, you find out that when you find the road signs are not interactive enough. You drive along some highways, you find out that you see a road sign that says road construction ahead, slow down. By the time you get there, you find out that that road has been completed long time ago. This affects the belief of the drivers in such signs. We have found out in the classroom that so many drivers fails to obey the road signs because they think it is not saying the truth. So we need to make sure that our highways have interactive road signs.
Let me quickly jump
in.
We need
to make sure that they are lane marked. That is on engineering.
Okay,
and
that's on the one hand.
About education.
Let me get a response. Just a minute. You did say road users don't follow those road signs because did you say they're not interactive enough or they're not telling the truth? But did you make those suggestions to Lagos? And what did they do?
Yes. You see, when you have interactive road signs, you find out that when it tells you something, for example, it tells you it's raining ahead. When you get there, you must find rain. It's not as you find a road under construction ahead and you get there and the road had been completed. So people fail to respect these signs. And at times, when it happens that the road sign is telling the truth, it can lead to road crashes.
You know, one aspect you just raised here is the issue of drivers. Let's talk about drivers. How educated are drivers? Because almost everyone is a driver. I drive. I just might think that I'm also educated, but I just might not be. For instance, while in classroom teaching people at the Drivers Institute before your retirement, what were those things you found out about people who thought that they were professional drivers?
Thank you very much, Sulaiman. The level of ignorance is very, very high. People have been doing the wrong things the wrong way over the years. And we found out in the classroom that when you ask them questions about the correct thing to do, most don't know. People are not even aware of the fact that they have to give way to other road users at a roundabout. People don't know who has the right of way at junctions. that is about some of the technology. Driving is a technology. It is a technology, and before you are given the responsibility to drive a vehicle, you must be properly tutored. We are not talking of public enlightenment here now. We are talking about real training, where you bring people to a situation where they will see what you are talking about in the language which they can understand. And that is what we did. And also, if you talk about the physical and mental condition of the drivers, about 60,000 drivers passed through Lagos Drivers Institute when I was there, and we found out that 12.5% of those drivers are not aware of their vision status. Some of them need to wear glasses, and they didn't know. It is bad enough when you have one person driving on the road that is blind, not to have that amount of people that are driving on the highway. That is true. Then also about physical condition of the driver. We do not have an enforceable blood alcohol level in this country. We need to do that law. We need to send a bill to the assembly on how to enforce it, because you cannot just bring a alcoholizer and say you want to enforce anybody. People will react. But it is very, very important for us to know the blood alcohol level of our drivers. For example, we have so many parks where we have so many things being sold with that are laced with alcohol. These have a very serious effect on driving. And also, if you want to know what I'm talking about crashes that affect that happens when people use alcohol, get out very early in the morning on any urban area. On Saturday, you see what I mean by people crashing due to effect of alcohol. So we need to tackle that one. We must have an acceptable blood alcohol level, which will be done by all stakeholders, including medical people. You see, in Sweden, they have something that when they had accidents that was rising at that time, they decided to have a vision zero. The vision simply says that it will not be acceptable for anybody to die or be seriously injured in any in a road crash. So what did they do? They brought all system designers together, from engineers, medical doctors, lawyers, town planners, and law enforcement agents, to fashion a way where everybody will play his part to make sure that deaths are removed from their highways. And right now I'm talking, Sweden happens to be the safest in terms of road traffic crashes and fatalities in the world.
Let me come back to the drivers and the form of knowledge they do have, and see if that also helps with those vulcanizers. The issue of PSI and tires. Let's talk about the pound square inch, the pressure we put in our cars. Sometimes you take your car to a vulcanizer. The vulcanizer dictates to you the amount of pressure or air to put in your tires. How can the drivers or driver know what amount of pressure to put in that tire so that you can avoid a blowout?
To add to what you have said, I would say that if you take your tire to a vulcanizer at this point now, after measuring the pressure on it, and you move to the next one, which is about 30 meters ahead, it's going to tell you different things. This is the ignorance, and is part of what we're talking about. But if you open the door of your car, on the outer side of it, where it links with the body, you will see the correct pressure that are meant for your vehicle, the tires in front, the tires at the back.
That's on the driver's side.
The vulcanizers don't believe in this one, and the equipment they are using are not the same. So we have to look into these two, because we need to train the vulcanizer. We need to make sure that they inspect the equipment they are using. People have to go around to see that, because there was a day I took my vehicle to a driver, and what I needed, it was a Jeep. And he felt the pressure there should be 60. I had a running battle with him, because I know what I carry in my tires, maximum 45. I had to educate him that time and to make sure that. So we need to, that's what I'm saying, it is an holistic approach to the issue of safety. It cannot be a one-off measure to say once you train, it is off, or once you provide the road sign, is off. It is a holistic approach, which we must sit down to make sure that we do to improve the accident records in the fatherland.
Mr. Oyedokun, what you're implying is that it's not just the drivers that need to be trained. but the vulcanizers and other road users need to get some level of information or training, as the case may be.
That is true.
But then you said something earlier about driving on the road and not understanding who has the right of way or what you should do at roundabouts. There's this, I mean, growing up, we used to hear things like folks started driving, give way to traffic on the left. Does that rule still apply?
Definitely, the route is made to ensure that the roundabout is evacuated fast. You are to give way to traffic on your left and the roundabout. Then at junctions, there are rules that guide the junction. At junctions, junctions that are not signalized, you find out that when you get there, it's either the first person that gets there that goes first, or you give way to the fellow on your right. Because if you give way to the fellow on your right, it will clear the junction faster. All these things have rules. Like I told you, driving is a technology. There are techniques that have been done to make sure that roads are evacuated fast and that people interact safely in the highway transportation system.
But if it appears the drivers in the country are not following these rules, or those who have been driving for years feel that there's no need to go back to training or go back to school to relearn driving techniques, how best can we ensure that those that use the road and won't go back to learn get this information so that they are more conscious of safety on the road?
Well, the most important thing is enforcement. When you enforce, when people commit offense and they don't go scot-free, they will do the right thing or they will seek for knowledge. You see, the era of committing road traffic offenses and going scot-free, not being able to be traced and so on and so forth, is gone. No, there's nobody that cannot be traced in this country. And also there's nobody that we cannot enforce traffic rules and regulation on. We are very lucky that we have a president, President Muhammadu Buhari, that has vowed to obey traffic rules and regulation. So what is stopping other people from obeying rules and regulation? There's no, the mode of enforcement may differ from the ordinary road users to the VIPs. If you have records on VIPs that have been constantly using a road and have been violating rules and regulations, you report them to the appropriate quarters. And if at the worst, you throw them to the court of public opinion.
You know, Mr. Oyedokun, I'm particularly concerned about drivers and their knowledge. I'll go back to drivers because if you drive across, you are in Abuja now. I don't know how much of that you get to see in Abuja, but in Lagos and so many other places, you could just see a signpost, drivers wanted within, everywhere dotted around. What should you be looking out for when you say you are out to employ a driver?
Well, we should try, when we're looking for a driver, you should try by all things possible to make sure you employ a competent driver. Ensure that the driver you are employing is well trained. And you should know where to go to train such drivers. You see, the way companies and individuals treat drivers and treat drivers' situations or conditions is very, very bad. We will, in a company, you have computer analysts, you have managers and so on. You will send them to training in a year that can cost you millions of naira. Meanwhile, the computer analyst is just handling a computer, the hard disk and the printer, which costs less than 200,000 naira. But you send him to different type of courses to go and learn Oracle, learn this, learn that. But you buy a vehicle that is 5 million, 10 million. You do not appreciate, you don't even know that you need to stay that driver on training. You don't know that the driver has to be examined. He has to undergo constant physical and mental condition checks. He needs to go on capacity building on your drivers. So the way we treat drivers and this country, companies need to change to make sure that, because it is this driver that you have not trained that will carry those trained people to wherever.
All right, Mr. Ayodeji Oyedokun is former CEO, Lagos Drivers Institute. Thank you for talking to us today. Well, we will be back in a minute. Don't go away.